What is up, you guys? What is up, Ramley? So today's video, we're going to be talking about the 4 drafted players the Rams got on day 2. So we waited a long time, and it all depends. This draft all depends on you, and depends on whether you're at best player available, or maybe you just feel like Sean McVay and Les Snead know what they're doing 100% the time that they're making these draft picks, or you're like me, that I'm more worried about certain positions and positions of need that the Rams have. So it's all about perspective. The first pick 52 in the second round, the Rams went with Cam Akers out of Florida State. The dude was one of my favorite running backs. I had him, I think, 4th out of 5 running backs that I was ranking. And Cam Akers is a really good running back. He's a decent to solid to really good. And the fact that Sean McVay really likes him is a good indication that the guy's probably going to be pretty good for the team. Now, we still have Terrell Henderson, who flashed very, very well in college, like to the point where we're like, man, Todd Gurley and Terrell Henderson are going to be the dynamic duo. Well, now we have Cam Akers and Terrell Henderson. And I'm pretty sure if the Rams pick this guy in the second round, they're going to go with this guy starting off. Unless they fight, they battle in camp and one guy outperforms the other, then that might be a thing. But when it comes to the Rams, I feel like Cam Akers would most likely be the starter. He's got really good agility. He played it with a terrible offensive line from Florida State, but he was still able to flash. And a lot of, scouts are very high on Cam Akers. I'm not going to knock the guy for his quality and how good he is. The only beef I had with this pick was I felt like the Rams could have gone edge rusher, could have gone offensive lineman, could have even gotten inside linebacker. But we went with running back. Okay, I understand that. Second thing was J.K. Dobbins was still there, and I had J.K. Dobbins as my second to third favorite running back that I was ranking as well, the guy above Cam Akers, and he was still available. And he ended up getting drafted by the Ravens, so the Ravens are having a fantastic draft already, but this is still a good pick, don't get me wrong. I just felt like in positions of need, we have more positions of need. I even heard when Todd Gurley left, everyone was saying, yeah, we're good with running back, Terrell Henderson, and Malcolm Brown was good, and blah, blah, blah. Now we pick Cam Akers. Now everybody loves the pick because the Rams made the pick. Don't just like a pick because the Rams decided, okay, we're going to draft this guy. Now we love this pick. I don't do that way. I look at, okay, the Rams had the 31st ranked offensive line. What if Cam gets that offensive line? Like, it's not that much different from last year so far. We still have the 4th round, and we still have the 5th and 6th round. But so far, the Rams really haven't done anything to improve that offensive line. And so if Cam Akers gets selected, you're like, okay, well, where does he go on from here? Not sure. But I do feel like the Rams will slightly improve the offensive line, whether it's through the draft or maybe through a trade, who knows. But for right now, I like the pick, Cam Akers. If he has to go battle it out with Terrell Henderson, so be it. But, to me, I'm more of the needs guy. What do we need right now? How can we get it better? How can we better to the next round? So that's all I'm saying. I still think Cam Akers is a really solid pickup for the Rams, and I think that he's actually a B+ draft pick. He was top 4 in my running back, mock draft, and the first 2 went in the first and second. Actually, the first 2 went early in the second round. Then I think Cam Akers was the 3rd running back taken, and then J.K. Dobbins. So they're not too far apart, but I still think Cam Akers is a really good get. Now, next in line was Van Joseph, wide receiver out of Florida. He also played for he played with Ole Miss as well, and he's actually a pretty decent route runner. I didn't know much about this guy. I saw some of his tape, his games against LSU. He actually played fairly well against LSU. That to me is more important than him beating all these other scrub programs. I want to see how he does against good competition, and he did very well against the champions, against LSU, the best team in college football. He did very well against LSU, and that to me speaks a lot more than him whooping on these little teams, So I actually think Jefferson is going to be a very good route runner for the Rams, and he's got a pretty good size and build. I think he's about 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds. He's got decent speed, and he's got really good hands. But the number one thing everyone says about him is he's a decent route runner, and something that the Rams really value at a pick like that. And this draft was very high on wide receiver talent, so maybe it was not a position of need for the Rams, but it was something to think about, because you don't know in the future whether you're going to extend Cooper Kupp, whether you're going to, keep Josh Reynolds, or maybe trade later on Robert Woods, because Robert Woods is getting up there in age. I think he's 28, 29. So maybe you want to save more money in the future, and then you decide to trade Robert Woods to save money. You have Jefferson to lean on and develop in the meanwhile, or maybe he might come in sometime in the season and play very, very well. That's what you're hoping for a guy like this. I like the tape. I think he's a really good route runner. Like I said, got decent hands. He's very Robert Woods-like. I kind of wanted to rank him as a better, how do you want to say, kind of Emmanuel Sanders-like, but I'm not going to rank him Emmanuel Sanders. I think Jefferson speaks for himself, and I was not pissed off about this pick, because I feel like we need a receiver more than we need a running back, because, like I said again, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. But at the same time, I was like, man, okay, there's still a lot of good offensive linemen left in the third round, so that's when we're supposed to go and get offensive linemen. Next pick would be what was the guy's name? Terrell Lewis? Is that Terrell Lewis? Yeah. So next pick was Terrell Lewis. I actually like this pick. I think on his highlight videos, I actually said I hope this guy goes to the Rams, because he's like a brawling type of edge rusher who is going to smack you in the mouth. And it's to me, it's my favorite pick of all these picks, was the Terrell Lewis pick, because of how dominant he can be and how physical he can be against, decent tackles. The only time I see this guy struggle was a game against LSU, where Alabama and LSU played in 2019, and LSU won that game, but this guy wasn't getting any pressure at all in that game. That's the only bad tape I can take from this guy, but all the other games, he was able to run after the quarterback, whoop on offensive linemen with ease, and was just simply a monster as a edge rusher, which is going to help. This is what my favorite part is, going to help Aaron Donald, because Aaron Donald is our best player on the team. We all know that. Plus, he's got help with, I think his name is Ashawn Robinson, and then you have Michael Brocker still on the team. You put Terrell Lewis in there, and then you still have to compete on the other side, whether that's Okoronkwo or Ebukam or Michael Floyd. So the Rams have a solid defensive line for the 2020 season. Like, I don't see the defensive line being a problem. And see, if they want to go edge rusher, to me that was a big position of need for the Rams. Wasn't the highest priority, but I was like, Terrell Lewis would be a really, really, really good get in the third round, because he was looked at as a possible first round pick before he started getting hurt a lot. And that's his only thing, is his injuries. And against LSU, he didn't get too much pressure, but against all the other teams, he was whooping on offensive lines and getting after the quarterback with ease. So I'm not going to hold that against him. But Terrell Lewis, to me, it was my favorite pick. And I'm not going to lie. Reason why? He's a monster. He's got a really high ceiling. And it was a really good position in need for the Rams to address. And I think they don't have to address it any longer in the draft because of the fact that they got Terrell Lewis. Remember, we still have Ja'Kai Polite, Okoronkwo, Ebukam, Michael Floyd, and now Terrell Lewis, who will probably come in certain parts of the season, little by little increments, and then eventually become a starter for the Rams. As long as he can stay healthy, or maybe, hopefully not, but another player gets hurt, he will come in particular passing downs and get after like guys like Jimmy G and Russell Wilson and just dominate with Aaron Donald right next to him. And it's going to help the Rams. Like, they did really well with this pick, and I actually enjoy it. Now, the last but not least was our guy, what's his name? I hate when they don't show the name. It is Terrell Burgess, who is a safety slash, they kind of link him as a safety slash slot corner with really good man coverage skills. To tell you the truth, you guys, I was actually kind of upset because I know that the Rams have better needs than getting another safety and a slot corner at this spot. It doesn't make sense to me why they would get a safety and cornerback at this spot. It just blows my mind. The Rams have the 31st ranked offensive line. That means one more team was worse than us, and I'm pretty sure that was the Bengals offensive line. If not the Bengals, then that was probably Atlanta. And Atlanta at least got a center for their football team who was graded pretty highly and is actually a pretty decent center. So I'm hoping and praying that the Rams in the 4th, 5th, hopefully 6th round can get a decent guard. And if we can get a decent guard, then the Rams will at least be better off than they were last year. At least the offense. You have to save Jared Goff from getting murdered with the 31st ranked offensive line. You do not win games unless your quarterback can throw the ball and your running back can run the ball. So Cam Akers is not going to get you anywhere if you can't run the football. If you don't have any open lanes or if you don't have any time to throw, it's going to be impossible. Do I think this is a good pick? Yes, I do. I think this is a good pick, but I still would have gone offensive line right here because it's thinning down. The offensive linemen are starting to thin out, and this guy, from all I know, this guy can be a future Hall of Famer. That's the only thing is you don't know. But at the moment, I feel like the Rams have needs that need to be addressed, and they're yet to pick an inside linebacker at this point. Then they're yet to get an interior offensive lineman. And I see a lot of teams a lot of people were mock drafting that the Rams would get a tackle again, even though we drafted like 4 tackles in the last 2 seasons. The Rams didn't go tackle. So they must feel very, very sure of this guy to come in and compete. He could be like our new Taylor Rapp type of pick where he comes in and he can kind of emulate playing a linebacker just to guard a safety. So he might actually be put on to go and cover like George Kittle. Who knows? But to me, like I said, I'd rather have gotten an offensive lineman here. It just, to me, didn't make sense, but who knows? The only thing I'm going to say about that is John Johnson, when we drafted John Johnson, I didn't like John Johnson. So this could be another John Johnson type of pick. But when we drafted Taylor Rapp, I actually liked Taylor Rapp, and I thought he had pretty decent tape, and he was a playmaker. So when it comes to Terrell Burgess, from what I've read, because I didn't really see him, I'm going to make a highlight video with all the Rams draft picks. From what I read, Terrell Burgess is a really good man-to-man corner / hybrid safety. So if he can emulate an inside linebacker in passing downs, or he can come in and cover the slot fairly well, or cover a tight end fairly well, then great. But like I said, we still have needs at the offensive line. We still have needs at the inside linebacker position. Hopefully we address those going into the next day, and we're gonna have to go and hit this draft pretty hard, you guys. So let me know what you think. Like I said, I love the Terrell Lewis pick. I'm kind of mind-boggled a little bit about the Terrell Burgess pick. Cam Akers is a solid running back. I'm not going to hate on Cam Akers. And then also Van Jefferson, for what I've seen so far on tape, he is a solid route runner and has a really decent hands, really nice frame. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a like, leave a share, leave a comment. Until next time, you guys, go Rams.